Okay, you ready?
1, 2, 3. I got a little shell in mine.
There's a tiny little shell in mine. I was focusing so hard to get it right. So we're making pasta, and I am so excited. Welcome to Around the Table. I love home and I love food, and this is where we bring the two together. I have a really special guest with me today, Brooke Eliason from Female Foodie, who I've been following you for years.
We've always believed like life's too short to eat bad food. I just wrote about restaurants that I was eating at and trying because I've always loved food. And then over the years it transitioned into recipe development.
I am dying to go on your Italy tour.
Through kind of this crazy series of events, we actually now host these all-women tours in Italy.
It looks like the best time ever.
Making pasta is not only so fun to do with your family and at home, but with a group of girlfriends. So I'm really excited to kind of bring that element into the kitchen with you today, Shea.
So what are we making today?
Handmade pasta and a Pomodoro sauce. Pomodoro literally translates as tomato in Italian. So we're making two of like the classics, the greatest hits, the essentials that I think everyone should be able to make in their own kitchen.
So we're starting with the Pomodoro sauce.
The tomatoes will make or break your sauce.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes, this is not the time to grab the cheapest can of tomatoes. If that's all you have, then that's totally fine. And you can work with the ingredients you have on hand. I do like to buy the whole peeled ones because you can do whatever you want with it.
I also think it's a really good rule of thumb that if you look at a recipe and it has a really short ingredient list, that tells you that every single ingredient should be the highest quality that you can get your hands on. Okay, so we've got 28 ounces of tomatoes, 1.5 chopped onions, a 1/4 cup olive oil, 2 garlic cloves, and then how much salt?
A teaspoon of kosher salt.
Let's do it.
Okay, first goes the extra virgin olive oil, and then in goes our onion until the onions are nice and soft. We're just gonna go ahead and add the garlic in. As I lower in these tomatoes, I actually use my hands, so I'll let some of the juices escape, and I'm just crushing them with my hands. Add a teaspoon of kosher salt. Let it slowly simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes. While our pasta sauce is cooking, shall we make our pasta from scratch?
I am so excited to do this. Yes.
The first thing that you need is this type 00 flour, the 00 flour.
I use it for pizza.
It just lends to a really delicate final product. And then the only other two things we need are eggs and the semolina flour. We want good quality eggs because that's going to translate in the color of the dough and the taste. So if you have a neighbor that has chickens, not
I think
on that
I'm
level.
going to be the neighbor that has chickens.
Room temperature is probably preferred. And then aside from that, we have this dusting flour. It's called semolina. You can feel how coarse that is. And we're not going to use this till after we make our dough. So today we're each making a portion for two.
Okay.
Okay, so here we've got our 200 grams of that 00 flour. We're just gonna literally pour it right onto the surface into a little mountain, just like Mount Vesuvius.
Beautiful.
Okay, and then you can do this portion either with an egg or with your hand and just put it in the center, and you're gonna form a little well in the middle. And now we're gonna each crack 2 eggs into the center.
Okay.
So I usually just kind of puncture the yolks, and then you literally just whisk in place,
Okay.
just like you're scrambling an egg.
Oh, mine went over.
Don't panic. If there's a little eruption, just kind of bump a little flour in here or there. We're gonna incorporate almost all this flour into our egg. So if you look over at mine, I'm a couple stirs ahead and see it gets easier the more you incorporate. But yeah. Just start really tossing that flour in here. Yes, perfect. Well, and in Italy, you know, the nonnos do this. They actually Sunday's their pasta day. So traditionally they'll get together. They have these giant wood cutting boards and rolling pins that are a part of their dowry. And all the ladies will get together and they'll just roll and make pasta. Depending on where you're cooking, you might not need all the flour or you may need more. We're in a drier climate right now, and so we might not use all this flour today, and that's totally fine. At this point, what I will do is you can either use your hands or the bench scraper, and you'll kind of work with what you already have to kind of form a ball. So at this point, we can ditch the bench scraper. I'm just kind of using my hands, and we're really forming this into a ball.
So it's not tacky. It's not sticking to my hands right now.
Yeah. So at this point, it shouldn't be too tacky and sticky, but it shouldn't be like so hard to wrestle with and to press.
Okay.
And look, I mean, if we were in a different climate, we may have used all of that. We're pressing down with our palm and rolling forward. Yes, perfect. And then I kind of turn it like a quarter turn and do the same thing. Yep. Perfect. A question that people ask a lot when they're making pasta is, can you overwork the dough? Yeah. You absolutely cannot. And this really pretty color shade that we have in our dough is because of those high quality eggs we're using, yeah. And then the way that you know that your pasta dough is ready, Shea, is you take your pointer finger and you just press it in the middle and it will spring right back. We're gonna let it rest for 30 minutes, which is really important because it lets the dough hydrate and it's just so much easier to work with. Now that our dough is resting, I think it's time to finish our Pomodoro sauce. We're going to just make it a nice, smooth consistency. I know it smells so good. You could totally use a blender if that's all you have.
This is gonna get splashy.
I like to use one hand and kind of tilt the pot, and I'll just blend everything up.
Maybe like a little small.
The thing that differentiates good cooks from great cooks is they really nail the seasoning. This is the fun part. You ready to roll out the pasta?
I am.
I'm gonna show you 2 shapes and 2 methods of rolling. First, we're gonna divide our dough in half and put 1/2 back into the plastic. Right now, we're gonna use semolina flour. Okay. This is made with durum wheat so that the pasta doesn't stick together. This is what an individual portion would look like.
Okay.
And we're gonna kind of form like a rectangle almost with our hands. And then this is where we want to start rolling. Don't be too stressed about this portion. Like, I will kind of rotate the dough, I'll turn it back and forth so it's getting a little light coating of that semolina flour. The goal is to get this dough so that you can almost see through it. You can see the marble underneath. That's perfect. Look at this. It is perfect. The other thing that you can do that's kind of a fun trick is you can get down to eye level with the pasta and blow underneath it and it will kind of ripple.
Oh, it did. Cool.
We're just gonna dust this.
You don't want to ruin my marble.
Beautiful marble.
Thank you.
And the Italians would agree, okay? Yeah. They love their marble too. I'm gonna show you first, Shea, how to make fettuccine. And what I do is I take these little inch pieces and we're gonna kind of roll it in. So we're gonna do a fettuccine today because that's kind of a little more traditional to kind of have a more narrow shape. Yep. But if you're making something like a bolognese or like a hearty sauce with the meat in it, go wider. So I'm gonna do a few and then I'm gonna hand it off to you. Getting all the way through to the cutting board. Kind of a fun way to reveal the pasta is you put your knife under the bottom and then we'll turn it so the blunt side is face up. And you have your strands of beautiful fettuccine.
Okay, that's so beautiful.
I know. Gather it and put it in like a beautiful little nest. Pull it straight up.
Like this.
So take that dough again, and this time we're gonna let a machine do the heavy lifting.
The easy way out.
They, in Italy, use machines like this all the time. So we're doing the same thing. We're kind of pressing this into that rectangular shape. You do wanna make sure it has a good dusting of that semolina flour because you don't want it to stick to your machine. Put it in here, and on the widest setting, feed it through the machine. And you do kind of want to keep it going. So that's the first run through.
Okay.
And then we'll just move the machine up a number each time.
Okay.
Look how gorgeous that is.
Ooh.
Giving
it
us
feels so delicate.
I know. Yeah. It's the prettiest color. We're gonna make one other shape, farfalle, which literally means butterfly in Italian. What we're gonna do is just make this a clean rectangle. I got the right girl for this job.
She's got the eye.
She totally has the eye.
Look at that.
I know. So we're gonna just cut straight down the middle, and then we're literally just going to cut
the
squares. And make sure you're really pressing when you cut.
That it comes apart.
Okay. Pinch the bottom half together. Okay.
Like this.
And it's a square, so you can do it either way. Yep. And then you pinch the top together, and then you'll pinch it all together.
That's so fun.
I know, and it's really not hard to make. So pinch again on the bottom and the top, and then bring it all together. Our gorgeous pasta is ready. Water's at a full rolling boil, and I'm just gonna add, I usually do like a couple handfuls of this kosher salt. That is gonna flavor the pasta. They do eat it much more firm. Go to your comfort level. Okay, so we're just getting
Little pasta
A
water.
little pasta water. We're gonna go ahead and add it to this beautiful sauce. I'm just gonna start with like a third, a cup, maybe a half. And then we'll strain the pasta.
This is really satisfying.
Look at those gorgeous strands. Add a little more of that pasta water if you feel like it needs a little bit to make it nice and glossy. Glossy. You're probably not gonna have leftovers, but if you do, it just tastes even better the next time.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna make it that long.
I know. Last but not least, the garnishes. And there's one rule, there's no such thing as too much. Pop of basil.
Look at that.
Oh, and we have all the 3 colors of the Italian flag.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Hey, Reed.
My heart, this is so good.
That tomato flavor, the fresh pasta.
I cannot wait to have girlfriends over to do this for just like a fun night. I know my kids are going to love it. Cheers. So good.